recently, we discovered methyl drug-resistant citrate as a potential antivirus agent for COVID-19.
Allowing a dangerous virus that we don't fully understand to run free is simply unethical.
Let's get more on this from Mohammed Munir. He joins me from Lancaster. He's a virologist at Lancaster University. Good to have you on the program with us. When we hear that a trial has been stopped because a participant has gotten sick without explanation, is that something to be concerned about, or is this all part of the trial process?
I think the primary objective of the late-stage trials, which are phase 3 trial, is really to look onto the efficacy of the vaccine against the natural course of infection, but at the same time, to really look into whether it is safe because it is being deployed on a large-scale population. So having pause in any vaccine evaluation is not really a major concern. However, the important message here is really that how transparency is really maintained in assessing whether that person who has some unexplained illness is because of the vaccine or because of other unknown factors. So earlier that information would become available, better would it be to really understand whether that is something to really look into the future really as a concerning or not.
Yeah, and you talk about that transparency. The scope of these clinical trials is really unprecedented, not just with scientists watching closely, but the general public watching closely. What can that tell us about the level of oversight that's being taken with these trials?
Oh, absolutely. I think it is really critical for every domain within the community that to have enough assurance that the vaccines that are being developed at a very fast track are really safe and effective. I mean, this is not the first vaccine. As we know, the Oxford University vaccine has also been paused a month before, and that has been resumed everywhere except the USA. But one thing I would like to highlight is that the only commonality between Johnson & Johnson vaccine and the Oxford vaccine is one vector, and that is the adenovector, the vehicle that is used to carry the antigen into the human body. So if there is anything related between these two vaccines, those are paused in the late stage, meaning that it is related to the adenovirus vector, and which is something that scientific community has to look very carefully in coming days.
Let's talk about this news of a man in the United States who contracted coronavirus twice, and it was the second time that he actually was hospitalized with a more severe case. Because on one hand, we have the U.S. president who had coronavirus and has apparently recovered, and he's telling people he's immune. But this, when I read the story earlier today, I thought, oh, wow, I mean, that shows that perhaps we're not immune. How concerning is this?
Yes, absolutely. This is something that we have to really look very closely in coming months and so on as we move into the pandemic. But one thing is really true, Rachel, that our immune system does a remarkable job in removing the pathogens. On a daily basis, we are infected with several pathogens from a wide range of spectra, and our body really removes them very effectively. With the COVID-19, what we are seeing is that very rarely we see the reinfection because the immune system that is established for the first time is primarily sufficient enough to protect against the second infection if it come across. But this particular case in the United States is probably one of the first cases where we have seen that the infection, the second time infection, has been relatively severe. But in the previous cases where we have seen the reinfection, it has been milder cases. So certainly that is the domain that needs a lot more exploration in the near future because we still are in the early stages of understanding this virus.
Okay, and then going back to the vaccine trials, at this point, where do you think we stand as far as getting a viable vaccine available?
Yes, at the moment, we have 10 vaccines. Those are in the phase 3 trial, which is incredible progress as on its own. We are expecting the scale of the volunteer, those have been recruited for the late phase 3 trial, to have a data available at the end of November. So the availability of the data at the end of November means that the regulatory body would be able to sit within the month of December. So hopefully before the end of this year, we will have at least the approval. And then the next question would come how to scale it up and to really deploy it at the place where it is really needed. Because at the moment, the major emphasis, of course, is on to the safety and efficacy. But the next challenge is really who will get the first and how many countries are really taking part into the COVAX facility and the one who have pledged the money previously in any of these vaccine candidates.
All right, and we'll leave it there. Mohammed Munir, virologist at Lancaster University, thank you for your time.